Yo, what's going on, everybody? Sorry if I scared you there, by the way. I just hate leaving people hanging. Like, I'm starting the stream, but I do need to give it some warm-up time. But I also want to reward those of you who just caught it early and let you know that I'm here and I'm about to rock out, just not yet. So hang tight, we'll do Q&A. I don't think we'll get to the phone calls tonight. It's been a long time since we've done that. We'll definitely do some Q&A though. I don't know, maybe we can do phone calls. We'll see. Beautiful shot of downtown Oakland. Howard Terminal in the distance. San Francisco even farther in the distance. The new eastern span of the Bay Bridge. Not really new anymore, but if you're an OG, this is not the one you grew up with. The one you grew up with fell down. Part of it fell down in the 1989 Loma Prieta quake. These are great drone shots. Like, drones have really changed the game, you know? Awesome video perspectives we never really had before. I mean, I guess you could fly a helicopter over the Bay Bridge like this, but not this low. You could not get this shot with a helicopter like this unless you close down the bridge. Lombard Street in San Francisco. Not a lot of cars on it. Don't they regulate it? Didn't they shut it down, actually? My commute over the Bay Bridge is never that fast, FYI, and I'm usually in that far left lane to get off on the very first exit. Pretty dramatic music tonight, huh? Coit Tower. That's a beautiful sunset right there. That to me looks like May. May or now, maybe not June or July. Then you get a lot of overcast hanging over the bay. You know, it's crazy. I think that pier right there is where I proposed to my wife. If that's the one I'm thinking is the right one, it's hard to tell when it's that dark in the shot. But true story, everybody. Learn something new every time. Colby wants to know, and I can see the questions already. Are any of these opening shots taken by you? No. These are provided to the channel, so to speak. All right. I think we've waited long enough. I think we're ready to just rip right into the live stream. Looks like Tahoe right there. All right, as soon as the music, like, comes to a pinnacle here, we'll make our move. We'll start the live stream. Get your Q&A ready. Potentially get your phone ready. What do you want to talk about? Oops. Oh, I screwed it up.
Broadcasting live and worldwide.
Totally
Here's
screwed it
Brody
up.
Brazil.
It's awful. I hit the wrong button first. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. I feel better about starting them with that video, like off camera, so you can't see me yet, I can kind of warm up to the live stream. And then I can hit the buttons in the wrong order like I just did. See, like, let me show you what's supposed to happen right there. It was supposed to be one nice, smooth, seamless fade. It's supposed to go like this. Right, there's this. And then it just drops, like, drop now. There we go.
Broadcasting live and worldwide.
Right, but you didn't really need that. And then, if you really want to get corporate, check out the NBC version of this.
Broadcasting live and worldwide. Here's Brody Brazil.
I gotta laugh at that one. That one's funny. Hello. It just doesn't seem like my YouTube channel, but hello. Welcome to the live stream. Let's just dive right into some of the Q&A already. Hey, Zeus, saludos, go A's. When does A's Cast return? I believe I saw them streaming earlier today. So I think, Jesus, officially today, Monday, January 9th, they returned. Do they ever really take a full break? I mean, I saw them at winter meetings. I know they were doing a week after that. So they did take a whopping 2 weeks off. That's Cody, Commander Cody and Towney deserve a full off season. I don't think that was a full off season, but they're back. Cesar, or is it just Caesar? From the Bay, but live in Seattle currently. My coworker is going to the Niner game this weekend. Ooh, little playoff action, huh? Pretty good. Dylan says, what are my thoughts about the Ryan Merkley trade request? So I don't know any of this firsthand. I can't confirm or deny anything. I know as much as you do, Dylan. Actually, you know more than I do, because I thought somebody mentioned this to me the other day. Not as a joke, but as something fabricated, but maybe there is some truth to it. I honestly don't know. If that is true, if that is the case, maybe not completely surprising. You know, it happens when there's a turn in a franchise and they were going one direction for so long, and then now they're going in a different direction. And maybe when you get new bosses, right? You're not always held to the same regard as the bosses that brought you in. I mean, that's just a fact of life, a part of life. And it's, I don't know that you can take any of this personal. It's business. But again, I'm speculating on speculation here. So unless I know more about it, I really have nothing to add. But like I said, if that's a real thing, I wouldn't be terribly, terribly surprised. And I know that, as the Sharks go through their pipeline and reassess their prospects, like I said, maybe they don't see everybody the same way that the old front office did. Riley, good to have you here. Colby, hello, happy Monday. Jesus wondering, when will the city start the A's stadium deal? Funny you mentioned that. I have a scheduled interview with District 1 council member Dan Kolb tomorrow. And he's been one of the longest tenured Oakland City council members. I think he was first elected in 2012. So he saw the entire Mayor Libby Schaaf 2 terms back to back. He saw this thing come to light. Now he's going to, see the next group of a couple new city council members, a brand new mayor for the city of Oakland. I'm really hoping I've got some good questions lined up for him. And he's a pretty straightforward guy, it does seem like, on all the meetings. So I'm going to hopefully get down to the bottom of more of that tomorrow, and I'll have that for you here on the YouTube channel shortly after. But I do want to say, and one of my first things that he and I will probably talk about is, there has been a quiet couple months here between the end of November, well, most of November, and all of December, and here we are early January. But that was probably to be expected, right? When you have is it like an electoral transition? Is that, what am I trying to say? When a city gets a new mayor and a couple new council members, it's the election process, the election cycle. Does not surprise me. And with the onboarding process of a couple new people, doesn't surprise me that, the Howard Terminal stuff, just you didn't hear much about it for a bit. And Colby wants to know about it too, but we're also waiting to hear on some state and federal grants still. There's a lot of money that is still necessary to make this project happen. And to be clear, it's not the money to fund the actual building of the site or the stadium. This is all infrastructure money. This is all money that needs to go to Oakland primarily to improve Oakland, ballpark or not. It's kind of weird. If you were to buy a home in a neighborhood that needed some work, like the home was going to be fine, but the neighborhood, sidewalks were broken, the sewers busted out of the street, the road sometimes is impassable. And then you moved in and then the city and county said, hey, you know what? Since you moved in, you pay for that. You would never go for that, right? But I mean, in a way, it's kind of what's happening here now. To be honest, I'm not asking the taxpayers to entirely pay for that. And you know what? The city of Oakland is not either. They're going out and securing these state and federal grants. They're doing it the hard way, to be very honest with you. They're doing it at basically no cost to Oakland. So good for them on knowing that was a thing, on the legwork it takes to track down these grants. And I hope for Oakland that Oakland deserves it. They deserve the opportunity to put this thing up. But that is the biggest bottleneck right now, is that infrastructure money, that offsite infrastructure money that's just not available to the project right now. Dark Knight Driver, Brody, what did you get anyone, or did I get anyone A's presents this Christmas? I did not, actually. I don't know. And now I feel guilty because of that. Now you're giving me a complex. I didn't. I actually didn't. In a hurry, hope dude does buy the A's so we can have some hope of keeping them here at home. Alejandro saying that. I really am curious to see how it plays out in the city of Oakland. And the dominoes are there. Are the dominoes all lined up right now? Not necessarily, but the dominoes are there. Can we tighten up the dominoes a little bit? And I feel like I'm blowing the video that I'm eventually going to make. People ask me this lately. So, Oakland or Las Vegas? I get that a lot. I can literally make a video where I explain Oakland and Las Vegas without even saying a word, by just giving you the visuals. And all I need are some dominoes. Here's the problem. I don't think we have any dominoes here at the house. That's a problem. So when I get some dominoes, I'll figure out how to do this video. I think you'll like it. I really think this will be one of the better Howard Terminal videos. And honestly, it explains it better than I could with words. And how about the Las Vegas side of the dominoes? What do those look like? I won't give that away. But the dominoes in Oakland are there. They're positioned. They're standing upright. Some of them are a little out of place. And if you push that first domino, that lead domino right now, I'm not sure the rest of them would fall right now. They can't. But at some point, can you align them a little bit better? We'll see. Timothy was back commenting during the during the open. This is the music that didn't make it into Avengers Endgame. That's very well put. God? Is that you? Drum roll? Brutus, good to see you. Predictions for the San Jose Earthquakes this season. Also, we'll be heading to the Bay Area next month for the Sharks game versus the Kraken. All right, Chris, so you're from Seattle. Oh, no, wait. No, you're not from Seattle. But you're heading to the Bay Area to see the Sharks play Seattle. Anyway, you know what? I hope that the Quakes can start something brand new. New head coach, again, gone through another turn of players that have either retired or that they parted ways with. It does seem like the ability to start a new chapter for the Quakes. I'm not going to pretend to know as much as everybody else. I am paying attention to them. I am hoping for them that they can turn things around. It's been a while, right? It's really been a while since they did anything, extremely noteworthy. It was like 10 years ago. 2012 was their last big season. They have not really had a big season at PayPal Park yet. So I can't really drop a specific prediction, but I will say that, my hope for them would be that they can start a brand new foundation starting this season. Am I going to flight sim those same aerial shots? Is that still rolling, by the way? Let me take a quick peek. Oh, yeah, it's still rolling here. These shots. Well, the broadcast is not starting soon. The broadcast has started now. Here, let me watch. Let me see if I can flip the video here so that it. There we go. Now it's just all the aerial shots, one after one after one. I think I can. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I can just look at them like this. That's not bad. Now this one. That one, I think, was shot on a helicopter. I don't think that was a drone. This one, definitely a drone, to be that low. And also, sometimes you can tell by the camera quality. If it's like cinematic quality, and there's some things my eye can pick out in terms of like the lens and the camera that was used. This, and the way that just moved up right there, this is definitely a drone shot. By the way, you can see off in the distance there the Laney College site. That's where they were initially going to build the first new next stadium for the A's. South Lake Tahoe, look how beautiful that is. And this one's also a drone, right? Yeah, that's not a helicopter, that's a drone. Oof. Yosemite Half Dome. Has anybody hiked up Half Dome, by the way? I have. Well, I got almost to the top. I didn't do the cables. Full disclosure, I didn't do the cables because I liked living. They didn't have any type of organization back then. There was no sign up. There was no structuring. It was just a free for all. It's like, yeah, I think I'll pass on that last part. Ooh, how about this shot right here? Ooh, wee. Now that is a helicopter right there. You can tell because that's more of a film camera, how smooth that is, how high that is. Yeah, that's definitely a film shot. Now this is a drone. Yeah, because a helicopter could not fit in the bridge like that. Okay, enough analyzing the footage, Brazil. Let's actually get to the live chat. Brody, are you going to interview IWGP Women's Champion Kairi? She is going to have a match in San Jose. I'm sorry, Riley. I'm lost on that one. I actually don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I apologize. Looks and sounds like a WWE entrance. Of all the play surprises, which could you see the 49ers doing against the Seahawks? Same thing Kansas City did against the Raiders. Was it like ring around the rosy and then what was that? I mean, I know what that was. That was pretty cool, actually. Here's the thing. How many times does that get practiced at practice? You definitely do not pull that out on a random and here's the other thing. Why was that allowed to happen? Kansas City was up big. It was the last weekend of the regular season. They're not doing that week 5 with a 3-2 record, like that. That only happened because it was kind of like garbage time. Was that disrespectful, by the way, what Kansas City did in lining up their formation like that? I don't think so. And then there was a lateral as part of the play. I don't even remember how the play ended. It's basically a flea flicker. Yeah, I don't know. Hook and ladder? What should the 49ers do against the Seahawks? You got to do something interesting, right? And it's probably McCaffrey catching the football at the end, or maybe he's throwing it. Oh, well. Maybe Brock Purdy is catching a Christian McCaffrey pass. Oh my goodness. If I just said this and it actually happens, you heard it here first. That's such a wild prediction. Why would that happen in a playoff game of all things? But hey, you never know. I guess you never know. This question is good. It's a hard one to answer. How many years until the Sharks make the playoffs, in my opinion? Okay, so considering that we restarted the clock this past summer, and this first full season is not over yet. In fact, we are precisely at this moment halfway through it. 41 games for San Jose. They've yet to really make the wholesale, large-scale maneuvers that could tilt the direction of the team, that could open up opportunity for young players. Right now, it's a team that was already in existence. It was complemented with a couple players over the course of the summer and at the end of the summer. And now they're playing, half this season, and to not a whole lot of difference from where they finished last year. Probably better, honestly, in some ways, but they're largely not that different. And they're getting better in the pipeline, and they will continue to accumulate draft picks and hopefully drafted players, and they will reposition themselves. But, they've got some decisions to make. Timo Meier, what happens to him? We should know by March 3rd, right? Because at that point, you're absolutely going to need to know what you'll do with Timo. Is he a trade piece? Are you going to hang on to him? Because if you don't trade him by, was it March 3rd? If you don't do that, then you're assuming that you're going to run the course and have to re-sign him, because otherwise he'll hit RFA status. And RFA status, for those of you who don't fully know, it's just that another team can make him an offer, and if that offer is higher than what the Sharks make, they get the chance to match it. If they don't match it, they don't get to keep him. And the problem with the Sharks not being able to match things is that as of right now, they're very much up against the salary cap. So I know none of this is answering your question, but I'm saying that, we are half a year in, half a season in, and we've yet to really see the whoa type move or the heavy lifting type move. And I don't like to sit here and talk about trade this person, move that person, because the way I think about it is, change their life. And I know this is what they do. They're professional athletes, and it comes with the territory, and they get rewarded handsomely. I fully understand it. But I'm not one to like seeing people lose opportunities, lose jobs, this and that. But I think at this point, right, the Sharks are not making tremendous progress. I do like the coaching staff. I do like what David Quinn has done in coming in and working with what he's got. I certainly like the season Erik Karlsson is having. I really like the way James Reimer has played, results by the team or not. But I think at some point, you need to make this season a step forward somehow. Now, getting to answer your question here, it might be obviously not this year, maybe next year, maybe the year after that. How quickly can we get from we're at point A right now. We had been at point A, and that is no playoffs for 3 years, new head coach, new general manager, a large amount of new hockey people. Like I say new to the team. So how do we get from that point A, which was what, like July of last year? Was it July, August? How do we get from point A to point B? Point B is you just qualified for the playoffs again. And I think it's going to take, unfortunately, probably longer than any of us want. But I really think that, Greer and Quinn, they've got a couple years of expected, how do I say this? They've got a couple years of expected work and expected progress ahead of them. You couldn't imagine this to turn overnight. We've seen it in sports. It's extremely rare. It's like stupid rare. Oh, same group, new head coach, and that's all it took. Yeah, that's a storybook type thing. Here, it takes persistence. Look at the LA Kings, for example. They've kind of retooled their team, and they've done it over, 5 years probably. I have to go back and look at their list of season by season. You kind of see when, some Stanley Cups happened, kind of fell off the map a little bit, resurfaced or retooled, then resurfaced. And all the while, keeping Drew Doughty, keeping Jonathan Quick. You'd think goaltenders would be the first ones to be, shown the door if it wasn't working. Anshe Kopitar. They kept Dustin Brown all these years. They had kept him all these years. So I think the biggest question for me is how fast can you do it? But it's a multi-year process no matter how you slice it from the beginning. But look what the Kings did. Now they're knocking on the door of being an every year playoff team again. They've already been there once. In reality, I could say that they're not retooling still. Now they got back to the playoffs. They did what the Sharks are trying to do. Now they're trying to take the next steps. So at least this year, probably next year, that puts us at 2 years plus the prior 3 without the playoffs. It had never been even 3 years the Sharks didn't qualify. Now we're at 3, about to be at 4. So I give them, obviously, like I said, it's a process. They're a little bit handcuffed based on some of the contractual statuses of players and no moves and no trade clauses. So, yeah, Mike Grier and company would probably like to maneuver things even more, but they can't necessarily all at the same time. Do I still keep in touch with Robert Bronstein of High School Sports Focus? I really appreciate that question for the fact that you remembered that. Here's the other thing. I was just thinking that show got canceled unceremoniously 15 years ago? It was 2007. Doing the math here. Yeah. That show got canceled 15 years ago back in it was December of 2007 was the last show. So I didn't realize it, but this past December was the 15-year anniversary of that show not even being around. To answer your question, I have not seen him around in a couple years, actually. This is probably everything is before or after the pandemic. It was before that. But it's probably been since then, since I saw him or even talked to him. But I appreciate you asking. Do I think the Sharks should get a teal chrome helmet like the Knights and the Kings? Come on, North Face. You want them to look like R2-D2 or C-3PO? So, at least the Kings being silver, right? There's something about them that, I don't know, just plays okay. I don't even want to say plays well, but it plays okay because silver, chrome, okay, it's passable. Is it stainless steel? What is it? But the Golden Knights gold buckets, they don't look like Notre Dame football's, classy spray-painted gold. They look like cheap, flaky, children's toys where the gold is just flakes right off, and it just, oh, come on. It looks like a bad, cheap dive casino, I don't know what to say, like covering or something. It looks, I don't like. I mean, I like the idea. I like that they want to be flashy. I like that that's different. But, now on the flip side, I've said this before, and people didn't like when I said it because I called the Las Vegas jerseys doo-doo brown. Whatever that brown jersey is they wear, it's like burnt orange, brown. I kind of like that, actually. Nobody else is doing that. It's kind of like how I like the San Diego Padres colors. Nobody really does the brown and orange like that. I love the fact that they went back to that. So I don't think the Sharks should do that. Could you imagine a teal-tinted chrome helmet? Ugh. Blah. There's no good way to pull that off. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. Aaron's been an A's fan my whole life, so obviously I've seen players traded away constantly. Gets frustrating. Will this cycle of trading players be different? If it times out with the new stadium, Aaron, I think it has to. I mean, that's what's been promised, right? That's what's been discussed, laid out, expected. But I think the bigger question is, what's the time frame on that? Every month that ticks by, every year that ticks by, an A's new ballpark was supposed to be open by 2023. Back in 2017, and they made that like a 5-year runway. 5 years, I was like, well, it only takes 3 to build it. Yeah, but, we'll add in a couple just to play it safe. Well, we're about to play the 2023 season, and we are farther along than we've ever been. Like, there's no question about it. You've got votes that have gone the right way. You've got lawsuits that have been defeated for this project to continue. You've got an environmental impact report that's been passed. You've got the land designation all cleared up so that the port can have a baseball stadium there just north of Jack London Square. But it entirely, to me, relies on where this team plays. At least that's what's been said. So I have to understand that and wait to see how that plays out. That's probably the best way to put it. What's the coolest Oakland A's memorabilia that I have? All right, Will. And I'm not somebody, I don't, like, what do I have or keep or get? I don't ask for autographs, right? I don't steal gear. Did something like that happen recently? I was thinking about that the other day. Did somebody do that, like lift something? I'll tell you one thing though that I think I still have. I think I still have this. It was a champagne cork from the 2006 ALDS that the A's won, right? Didn't they swept the Twins, right? Minnesota never won a game in that series. Yeah, and they swept them in 3 games. I think there was only just that one game at the Coliseum. And it was the first champagne celebration that I'd ever covered, like professionally. I was in there in the clubhouse getting sprayed. This was way before the days that goggles were in style. And so I got the, Nick Swisher dumped one on me, and I'm like, I can't see right now. Nick, where are you, Nick? Where'd you go? But I kept the champagne. They were all on the floor. There was dozens and dozens of bottles, and I was like, you know what? I want to remember this. What can I remember this with? And I just looked down and saw a cork. I'm like, you know what? This will remind me. So I put the cork in my pocket. They didn't need that, and that's a weird thing, right? That's what I would keep. A cork from a champagne celebration, the first I ever got to be a part of. I don't know. Maybe that's not cool to some people, but for me, it marked being there. I don't really have anything else. I honestly don't. I have a few baseballs from the 50th anniversary season, like actual official. They were not game used, but I mean, they were set to be used in games, and they have the 50th logo stamped on them. But I really don't. I've got a Kelly Green jersey that they made for me, which is really awesome. But I don't. Yeah, I just don't have a lot of keepsakes. I've got memories, but not keepsakes. Dr. GTI, Happy New Year to you as well. Looking forward to a great new year in our sports community. Well, let's hope it brings some really good things. Machines of God. Quite the handle there. Happy New Year. How are my holidays? Thanks for the coverage of Howard Terminal. I really hope it becomes a reality. Holidays were good. Happened too fast. We had a little bit of, my son and most of us were not feeling great, like health-wise, for like the week before Christmas. And I was in San Diego early December, so December just went whoosh. Before I knew it, it had started and it was over. So it went by probably too quick, to be honest with you. And you're welcome. The Howard Terminal stuff, again, for me, it's a passion project. It's also a way to edge into an area that nobody else, and when I say nobody else, shouts out to Casey Pratt and a handful of others who are all over this, but there's not a lot of people who are into it. And so I feel that's a void. I'd like to fill that absence if I could. John Mark's channel. Great broadcast. I appreciate that. Thank you. What are the chances the A's leave Oakland for Vegas? Oh, John, you're going to have to watch my Dominoes video. I'm literally going to start the video like this and say, so, Oakland or Las Vegas? Let me explain with Dominoes. And then I'll like cut to the other camera up here. And I'll show you Oakland. And then I'll show... Okay, so I've done too much. Just wait until the video comes out. I will do something like that. The Dominoes are in play. They exist and they are standing for the Oakland side of things. Are they aligned? Would they all fall into place if I pushed them right now? Can't say yes to that right now. Caesar, is there going to be an A's Fan Fest this month or next? I have not heard anything about it, to be honest with you. Usually, it's at the end of January. Here we are about 20 days away from that, so about 3 weeks. And you know what? It's my fault too. I could ask people who would know for sure or not. And I have not done that. So let me get on that in the next week or so here. Try and keep people up to speed on that. Fernando, maybe you saw the video I made, was it yesterday? Published it today. Wish the Raiders had stayed in Oakland. We don't have home crowd advantage in Vegas. It's not just the attendance of Las Vegas. It's the mix of home versus road fans. It's also, I think, an interesting study because people are quick to either knock Las Vegas or defend Las Vegas as a pro sports town. I'm just here to say, you don't know yet. You really don't know yet. You've had minor league baseball there for a lot of years, and now you're getting sellouts, but only to a capacity of 10,000. Also in a stadium that is totally off the strip, right? The Aviators play out in Summerlin. But then you also get the NHL, which of the big four, right? Baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. Of the big four, hockey would be the one where you're like, that's the one that's going to go first, and but like they ingrained themselves very well in Las Vegas, and they went to the Stanley Cup final their first year of existence, and they've been to the playoffs every year besides the last one. So, and they've also, I think, got good partnerships with the casinos and getting fans to, come there, visit the hotels, like road fans too, and then go to the game. But and they've got 41 home dates a year. And the NFL has 8. They have 8 regular season games. And the Raiders to be 3,000 short, that's what they announced. But I mean, like there's probably a good 10, 15,000 seats that I saw that were open on Saturday against Kansas City. Anyway, all I'm here to say is we don't know Las Vegas as a pro sports market yet. We really don't. It's in its infancy. Like you need a good 20 to 30 years to figure it out. Like what happens when the team is good? What happens when the Raiders this year go 6-11? What happens when they're a 3-win team? What happens when they win 13? What's Las Vegas like? We don't know. But I know you're seeing it right now, and you're not seeing a tremendous home crowd, home field advantage. Predictions for the A's this year. They're not going to lose 102 games. They went through a lot last year. And this year they'll have prospects who are only bigger and better and that much closer to being ready. They'll have some players who got a taste last year that are only that much more confident. There's no question, that they've been called up to do a job. They're going to get the opportunity. Yeah, of course, I'm thinking like you are. Shea Langoliers. When you trade Sean Murphy, and whether Langoliers is 1,000% ready or 97% ready right now, he's going to get the crack at it. And so, but just the nature of the known versus the unknown, and the nature of the fact that there was so much transition going into last year versus this year. You had a lot. You had the lockout ending. You had Chapman, Olsen, and Bassett all traded so quickly. And Minaya, and then eventually Montas throughout the season. The A's don't have a lot more left to tear down anymore. So at some point, the boat hit the bottom, right? And it bottomed out, and now we're going to start sailing again. And it may not be a drastic improvement. I'm not here to promise you that or tell you lies, but, they've only lost 100 games in one season twice in Oakland history. 1979, I think it was 108. And this last year, somebody came up to me at one point and was like, was this the worst A's season you've ever covered? Yeah. It's actually the worst A's season of my life in Oakland, or just of my life. It wasn't around in 79. Almost, but not yet. So it will not be to that extent. Laura, good evening. Glad you're here too. Kyle, hello from Austin, Texas. Kyle, good to have you here. Any thoughts on Tim Kawakami's tweet from earlier today? I did not see it. Very curious how 2023 unfolds with all the Howard Terminal madness. I apologize. I did not see it. And I suppose I could look for it right now and sift through it here. I know Tim's a heavy tweeter, so I'm only scared to have to sift through a couple hours and pages worth, especially, on a night where I know there was a big college football game. So I didn't see it. But I think I've probably done enough Howard Terminal stuff here to at least give my opinion. If there are some specifics, then let me know. I've heard Austin wants the A's too. It is interesting how in all of this, as we reflect back on it, You know, there were like Portland and Charlotte and Montreal. There's a lot of places. And look, I know Nashville's going to get Dave Stewart's team. I'm so excited for that. I saw the tweet today from Bob Nightingale saying that Don Mattingly is now part of the Nashville Stars. How awesome is that? You got Donnie Baseball and Stu. Oh, man. But it is interesting how a lot of cities and places kind of fell off the map as it relates to, the hunt to try and bring in the A's. That is interesting, right? Like, they kind of got eliminated from contention, conversation. Was that a Major League Baseball thing? I don't know. In reverse, was it the A's just honing in on Las Vegas? Like usually you would keep all your options open, but maybe baseball said, okay, do this. Don't do everything. That's going to get too messy. And that actually is, maybe that's the reason why I'm realizing that they didn't pursue multiple things at once. Like, why not, if you're fishing, right? Why not throw 3 lines in or 5 lines in? See which one bites first. But yeah. God is asking me to consider making a video on my interpretation of the controversial offside call against Anaheim. Also, can I do the cool godly voice effect, please? And thank you. I don't know if this is it. No, this just sounds like me in an echoey room. No, it's even more creepy. Hello? I feel like I'm watching Stranger Things right now. This is kind of dope, though. I'll read your comment like this. Hi, Brody. Would you consider making a video on your interpretation of the controversial offside call? I suppose I could do that. I could just tell you right now. I don't know that I can make a whole video on it. You're allowed, unless you're part of the play, you're allowed to go back and touch up. So I know I initially I was the same way too. When it was explained to me, I was like, oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. I guess I did give you, I don't know if that's the godly effect you were looking for. I was also going to bust out auto-tune. I do have auto-tune on my setup here. All right, you know what? Let's see how fast we can do this. Let's pull it up here. You would think that I would have an auto-tune setting. Apparently I don't. Hang on 1 second here. I hear also something. Oh, that's what I hear. I also hear some music. Sorry. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to waste everybody's time. I thought I had it set up and ready to go here. I thought I had an auto-tune. I guess not. Vocals, no, it's not in that folder. All right, well, enough of that. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, MM Forever, thank you for being here on the Super Chat. I really appreciate that. When do we hear an update from Cavill on the stadium? You know what? It has been really radio silent from the Oakland A's about the stadium stuff. Now, part of that I completely understand in a sense that there was going to be this inevitable transition from the city of Oakland with a new mayor, a couple new city council members. Why keep the public side of it going when the other side is going to need to hit the pause button for a few minutes, or more like a few months? But I'm curious too. I mean, it's been obviously a long time since we've heard something or anything. I'm kind of left to wonder, is that good for Oakland? It was said to me by a city council member a few months back. Maybe when you don't hear the most back and forth, maybe things are actually happening behind the scenes. No, that was literally said. In fact, you can find that clip here on the YouTube channel. But I don't know. I honestly do not know. I will inquire about it. I think as we approach a next start of a season, there's every reason to ask, like, what's going on? Just would love to hear it from your side. Quite honestly, though, I mean, I'll tell you this. I'm more interested. It's the reason maybe you missed it. I said this earlier on the live stream. Tomorrow I am going to have a video chat with District 1 Councilmember Dan Kolb. And he's been part of the Oakland City Council since 2012. He's, pretty well spoken in terms of his thoughts on this project. I know he's well versed on it. So I'll look forward. It's not that the A's have said a lot already. And in fact, for the longest time, they were the only ones saying anything about this project, trying to promote it, trying to move it forward, trying to show people why it would do well in Oakland and for Oakland. And so, quite honestly, I mean, I'm interested too to hear an update from the A's side of things, what their take is, what they're working on. But I'm more curious right now to hear from elected officials and decision makers in the city of Oakland, as well as the county of Alameda. Like, let's hear from the people who are actually going to decide fates once an agreement is made. So I'm sorry that I don't know the exact answer to that. But I am curious. And now that you mention it, it's definitely something that the new year is going to bring, a request for that conversation to happen. I guess we're way behind here. Actually, that is exactly what happens in a new real estate development. The developer really does pay for the infrastructure costs. Obviously, the numbers need to pencil out. Okay, so this was a while ago when I was discussing you buy a house in a neighborhood and the neighborhood needs upgrades and you're asked, hey, you just bought this house. You need to fix the street as well, too. You need to make sure that the street lights work, that the pipes don't bust out of the street. Like, you need to put the new sidewalk in that's necessary. Yeah, a new development, I suppose I understand that, but this is an area that already exists. These are some of it already exists. I would also understand that some of it needs to be improved, like the neighborhood streets probably widened a little bit, or ingress and egress sorted out, ways to get people to and from like downtown from the location. So is some of it just replacing what's there? Yes. Is some of it adding new amenities for transportation and like the overpasses that need to happen to get to the site and that need to cross over the train tracks and stuff. So some of it's new, some of it's just fixing up what's already there. This is an area that if you've walked the neighborhood, like this area needs attention and upgrades and all that stuff, ballpark or not. So I think maybe we're spelling out some different stories here. I was using the example of a neighborhood that already existed. But I do understand that, as part of a new development, maybe that's in a little bit more of a question. But again, it's also not like in the middle of nowhere where nothing previously existed. Like, this is in a part of Oakland where things have been happening and stuff is already there. It's just never been upgraded or maintained even. And so that's hard to ask somebody who's moving in to have to also just front that entirely. That's rough. Dominoes pizza? Oh, that was when I was talking about my domino video that I'm going to make. Do I go to the gym? Ooh, Jesus. I don't. It's been a long time. I was big on Orange Theory. I loved Orange Theory. And then the pandemic happened. And then, like, what's the excuse? I didn't have an excuse in time. Then what happened after that? Then I really like double IPAs. I'm not one to make a New Year's resolution all the time, but I got to do a little bit better in the taking care of myself department, the health department, the input versus output department. You know what I'm saying? Like, workout. I do ride the Peloton a bunch. I try and stay pretty physically active, right? But I could do more. But also, I really need to watch what I eat and drink, especially, and consume. That's probably the answer. But no, I don't. I don't go to the gym. You knew that. Come on, look at me. Joe Lacob was looking at the Angels, but Steve Kerr said that he wants him to buy the A's. Oh, really? I did not see that. Good on you, Steve Kerr, for at least pointing things in the right direction, like showing some love to a team in a franchise that that needs it. But I don't know how I'm not speaking for anybody on any of that. It's interesting. I don't know where that came from. That's an interesting perspective, but it won't happen for years. But if Googleville gets built out in San Jose, then don't be surprised if Google buys out the Sharks stadium. This won't happen until 2030 or later. The Google, it's the downtown west expansion. That's happening. Like if you've been down there, I was just there, 2 nights ago? It's happening. There's tall cranes, there's construction already, and this is on just several sites. I mean, there's a lot of different sites to hit down there. San Jose is going to look a lot different by 2030. But I question if you already have that facility, which has not been neglected at the least. That facility has only been tended to and maintained and upgraded. Why on earth would Google be interested in sunsetting that facility? And the city of San Jose, I believe, is a large-scale owner of this property too. I don't see why that would be in Google's best interest. Now, might they try and purchase it, just make it difficult overall? Like, I don't think they need every acre of land. I really don't, as much as I think that building where it's at is a proven winner of events and things it brings in, and hosting the Sharks. And I know it's been some rough years lately, and for a lot of different reasons. But people have said this before, but I don't. Why ruin a good thing? Let's move away from sports. Cross the Sharks off your mind for a second. Cross the tank off your mind. What if this is like a really good, a neighborhood with a really good restaurant? Like a really good restaurant, one that's been there 50 years, is basically printing money. They don't need Yelp reviews. They just, and you're gonna add to the neighborhood. You're gonna redo it, whatever. You bought the neighborhood to redevelop it. Why would you get rid of that? Why wouldn't you protect it, make sure it continues, and add around it? Why would you not? Destroying a good thing, I don't understand it. Even if that is the case and there is some aspect of control there. I certainly don't wish for that situation or scenario, but if it ultimately comes to that, I'd be shocked. Lightning Dragon, it's frustrating that the Giants have a top 3 stadium and we have a 57-year-old dive bar. It's the last dive bar. Oh, shouts out to them. Am I making you guys a commercial again right now? It's the last dive bar. I know you're watching. Q's going to get that one up on a video pretty soon. You watch. Yeah. And I think it needs to be understood that the A's in this market need a new stadium for a lot of different reasons. But one of them is simply the casual fan. Now, Lightning Dragon, I don't know if you're a hardcore baseball person or just a little bit or medium. Like, I don't know what your baseball connection is, because I just don't know who you are. You're a Lightning Dragon 12. But for some people, right, we can understand fantasy team, love baseball, couldn't care if they played at a local park like Major League Baseball. That's where they would go to watch their team, and that's where they'll go to consume baseball. Then there's the medium people, 5-10 games a year, but couldn't name half the team, whatever. And then there's the casual fan who might go to 3 games a year, if that. And there's a lot of casual fans out there. And as of right now, if the casual fan has a choice to go to the place where there's a Coke bottle and there's a Build-A-Bear and there's the cha-cha bowls and the garlic fries and the great views and, some stuff to do before and after the game. And maybe you'll see somebody hit one in the water. Then the casual fan is going to go to Oracle Park. It's just the way it is. Like, if there's 2 hotels and one of them is a top 3 hotel, in the country or the area, and the other one is a 57-year-old dive bar hotel, I mean, just based on where you want to spend one night, what are you going to choose? If they don't mean anything to you, right? And I'm saying, like, I don't have a connection to the A's or the Giants. If I'm just somebody who just wants to go out and enjoy a summer day and catch some baseball with some friends, then I think I know where you're going to go. And so the A's need that to compete with and for the casual fan. And I think that's probably the biggest frustration factor of Oakland versus San Francisco. And I'm not the casual fan, and most of you watching are probably not the casual fan. But understanding the business like I do, seeing things from, ground level, but also, like 35,000 feet, that's one of the biggest parts of this, is not being able to compete for people who make the difference in attendance by a great amount. I know we say casual fan like they don't matter. No, they do. The casual fan are the people who bridge you from your season ticket holders to selling out games, right? If your season ticket base is 20,000 and your stadium seats 35, it's those 15,000 that get you to the sellout. So that's probably the biggest part for me. Did I watch the college football championship? Was that on tonight? I got to be honest with you. My wife and I, we finished off the second half of Enola Holmes 2. That's what we did earlier tonight. So no, I did not watch it. I know. A lot of you are like, what? How is that possible? I did not watch it. What are your thoughts on the whole Trevor Bauer situation? And from an organizational standpoint, do you think the Dodgers did the right thing? Oof, Laura, it's a good question. It's a deep topic. A lot of people out there would say, well, show me legally, where he went wrong or what stops him from continuing to participate. I mean, let's forget all that for just a second. I understand that's out there. I understand that's a thing, right? He's not in jail. He's not behind bars. He's not, wanted by the law. He's kind of free of all that from what I understand. Is it done with? Is the legal side of it done with? But he is serving that suspension. And more importantly than all of that, you work for a company and you work in a business where, like, image and morality and decisions you make and representing your team, your league, your sport, your colleagues, your coworkers, it's super important. And if you do something to cross all of them like that, or so many of them like that, and I saw some tweets the other day saying, Dodger players for this upcoming season said they'd have no problem welcoming him back, and whatever. Who's then put your name on it then. Don't be anonymous. Put your name on it. Obviously, inside that organization, there are some people who said no chance, and it could be up and down the hierarchy, from the front office to players, to coaches, to a manager, you name it. It could be anybody up and down, and it was probably a large sum. I doubt the Dodgers made this decision on a whim or with just one person making the ultimate call, right? They asked around, what should we do here? How should we proceed with this? And my point in all of this is, take the whole legal side out of it for just a second. That part kind of doesn't matter. I mean, there are some things that people have made up their mind on what happened, they think, and certainly what was not right that happened. and whether it's punishable by law or even prosecutable by law, like this is just all bad. And we just want to disconnect from this. And so I do think the Dodgers did the right thing. How does that work? How does that work bringing him back in? I mean, in Los Angeles or anywhere. Playing baseball is a privilege. Working a front-facing job like that is a privilege. If somebody in my position does what he's said to have done and acted the ways that he did, it's really not a good look for, a multi-billion-dollar company and sport and league and all that stuff. So, I'm really trying to see the best argument for his case, but the best argument for his case doesn't come close to warranting his presence, if that makes sense. Like the very best case that, oh, well, keep him. Yeah, it doesn't play for me. So it's their right. They did the right thing. How does he ever join another big league team? It's weird. I won't get too far into this, but in hockey, and Laura, you might know this, right? You're a hockey fan. The Boston Bruins went out and tried to sign a player that was originally drafted by Arizona, right? And then there were some things uncovered about this young man's history. And because of that, obviously never joined the Coyotes. But also, sorry, I was distracted by the screen over there. But then when Boston signed him, there was a bunch of questions about, like, you can't do this. This is not, this player is pretty much off limits. And they went out and did it, and they said, oh, we didn't know. We thought that we were past that. So I'm kind of wondering with Trevor Bauer, like, will anybody ever try and acquire him again? Is it over? Probably over. So I went a long time on that, but that's a good question. I was thinking about this the other day. I have not talked about this much because I'm just an observer in all this. I want the right thing for humanity, number one, right? I mean, I love sports, but I want humanity to win in this. And secondly, I want baseball to be represented by the right people. And I don't know, just some of the way this was handled, really from the beginning, from Trevor's side of it, it never caught me the right way. So I will leave it at that. Who do NHL referees ride the cart from their locker rooms to the ice? Do they not want to put down a surface for them to walk to the ice? Maybe you're talking about in San Jose, right? So my take on this is that they don't want the officials to come out the Sharks entrance where they come on the ice, and they don't want them to come on the ice or the visiting team comes out, but the Zamboni door is open for anybody to come out. And so that's why the officials are, carted. They literally are carted, and it's a short cart ride. It's probably 175 feet, kind of around a turn. And it's because there's not like rubber on the floor. That'd be a lot of rubber on the floor, plus then it would have a lip, and there's not a way to walk on skates from the officials' dressing room to the entrance on the ice. So they do cart them. And I've never thought about that behind a mask. I've never really, I've seen that all the time. I walk past them all the time. I've almost probably got hit by that cart carrying one of the officials. But that's the reason why there's not a rubber surface to walk on. Brody, can you bribe somebody in the Sharks organization to bring back the black helmets and pants? Please tell me this is just a novelty that'll wear off after the Seals nostalgia wanes. I got to tell you, Jolie, I look at old video now of the Sharks wearing the black pants, and something looks not right when I see that. I know. Trust me. And it looked weird to see the teal pants and buckets at first. It's grown on me. It really has. I don't know what we're already talking the next generation. The Sharks just debuted this generation of jerseys. But you got to always think 6-7 years ahead, right? I don't know what they'll do next, but I think the teal pants are here to stay for a while. We had the black helmets and pants all those years, and again, what was the black pants thing? Why did they ever start with the black pants? Maybe because black, I guess, was one of their primary colors. It really was black and gray, and obviously the main one being teal. And that little bit of orange, it had always been in the stick. And remember, they tried to incorporate more of that orange in the jerseys with the cap shoulders and the orange little stripes. I got to be honest. It looks weird in not a good way to see the old video. The old stuff looks dated with the black pants. So, and helmets, to be honest, too. So I know you're used to it. I tell this story a lot. When the Sharks changed their logo, was that in 07 or 08? Late 2000s. When they went from the original Shark to the current one, it took me a good year to really feel like the new one was it. And now it's funny because now, I still love the old one, but it looks dated and old to me. I also wouldn't mind if they ever went back to it eventually. I really wouldn't. Maybe how could you update it just a little bit? I don't know. But I don't think they're going to be changing it. I like it. Do yourself the favor. Watch a bunch of current footage and then go back and watch the old footage. And you're like, whoa, that's a lot of black in there, Ghost Charm, long time no see. Well, I'm pumping out videos here every day. Ghost Charm, where have you been? Nah, I'm just teasing. I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, the bridge shot. How long ago was that I was up there? Oh my gosh, I got to really dive through this. Look, I'm so far behind on the live chat. All right, let's try and catch up here. This is quite daunting. Oh, the wrestling company. All right, yeah, sorry. I did not know what you were talking about earlier. The dance move play may have been disrespect, but what were the Raiders going to do about it besides nothing? Yeah. I'm telling you, when you line up for a play like that and it was coordinated, that's not something that you don't practice for like a good 25 minutes one day. But where? When nobody was watching? How did they do that? How did they practice that and nobody ever knew that was coming or saw it coming? That's pretty awesome. Have I heard any update on Sharks D-man Marcus Nunavara? I have not. I heard probably the same thing you did maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I haven't heard anything recently. Hello, Brody, says Regular Raccoon. Since you're on YouTube, what are your thoughts on YouTubers fighting MMA and boxers? Jake and Logan Paul. Yeah. What's amazing is like once you do so well at something, and I don't mean like you do okay at it. I mean like once you crush YouTube and you're making millions of dollars a year off something you started and you've got a ton of fans and a following. Like for example, how many people are even watching this stream right now? 60 something? When you've got 660,000 people like on this live stream and I'm making millions just to be on YouTube and just sit here in my house and make YouTube streams and videos, then all of a sudden you get so confident in yourself. Well, I could do anything. I could jump out of a plane. Or I could fly a plane even. Well, I can, but you know what I'm saying, right? I could go box people. I could go professionally fight other pros. I'll be trained. I got the money. I'll hire a trainer. I'll build myself a gym here at the mansion. It's amazing. And then, honestly, some people with that confidence and with those resources, they can do things. So sometimes it's money and opportunity that get them, put in these right places. Now, why are they doing this? Why? What are you trying to prove? Is this a life ambition? Maybe you're living out like a bucket list thing. And so I'm not going to knock that if that's truly the case. But if you're doing it as like I'm just going to show you, prove that I'm perfect and prove that I do anything I want. Okay. I don't know their reasoning. I can't honestly say I've ever watched a Jake or Logan Paul fight either. So I don't know that I've watched a Jake or Logan Paul video either. Sorry. No knock. Just the truth. Oh, Sandlots. What's going on, Brian? Well, I dress up this year for a Friday Last Dive Bar theme night. Hey, did you, Brian, did you hear the commercial I made probably about 10 minutes ago here on the stream? Made you a new Last Dive Bar commercial. Yeah, I mean, let's do it really well, right? Let's do something good. What's the theme going to be? How could I look the cheesiest? How could I make sure that, I just happen to get on television in said dress up outfit? Confirmed. This will happen, Brian. Needs more echo. What other thing can I, these are just some of the effects. I don't really like this one. Oh, here's one called Tape. Yeah. Hello. Whoa. Yeah. Creepy. Now batting. Number six. Brody. Brazil. Okay. That's too much. Contacting Q Productions. Kicker girl, you are right on the money. Oh, wait a second. I'm not sure that I know the cuts you're talking about. I don't know that I have elevator music here. No, not that one. Not that one. Definitely not that one. I don't think I have elevator. I know what you're talking about. I've got the casual music, but that's in the remote setup. I've got a whole different, computer setup here. So that, I don't think I have it. That is so disappointing. All I have is, sorry about that if that was really loud. What time is it, by the way? Oh my gosh. It's 10:30. I got a big haircut planned for tomorrow. It's about that time. It's past that time. Oh my gosh, I totally lost where I was out here. Oh, Bauer was proven innocent. Okay. What does that mean for me? I mean, okay, so he's not in jail. Cool. Doesn't mean you get to play Major League Baseball if you don't represent your company well. People can get fired. I don't see why is being a baseball player, why does that make you immune from doing the right thing and being able to you have a contract, so you can just do whatever in your free time, but so long as your contract exists. And there are clauses and outs that teams have to make this happen. So I don't if the Dodgers did something illegal to get out of this contract, they would hear about it. They would get sued, and maybe they will, but I don't think they will. They have an out. They've exercised the ability that is built into the contract if something like this happens. So, Nashville Stars. You haven't heard about the Nashville Stars? Do a quick Google search. Dave Stewart. Can you imagine this? My buddy Stu might be owning a Major League Baseball team in Nashville. Now, one of the biggest deals here is that Oakland and Tampa really have to get their locations settled. I mean, where are you playing? What's your new ballpark plan? But once that happens, I think it's a certainty that Nashville happens in Major League Baseball. It's probably going to be another 2-team expansion. They love doing it this way. They did it back in the day with the Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, and the Rockies at the very same time. So I really hope for Stu that that's an option. I told him this a while back. Had a great playing career. One that maybe didn't start out tremendously, but then he found his stride here in Oakland, won a World Series here, won a World Series in Toronto, had a no-hitter along the way, and did so many good things for the community. And then he was able to stay in baseball as an agent and work around the game in a bunch of different capacities, tried broadcasting, is really great at that, but pretty much nothing he could do at this point would match starting your own Major League Baseball franchise like he's basically been doing. And I'm not saying it's only Stu, but Stu has very much been behind this as much as anybody else in trying to get Major League Baseball in Nashville. And by the way, let's be very clear. This is not to take the Oakland A's to Nashville, okay? It's not. This is to get an expansion team in Nashville. That's got to be stated, just to be clear. But nothing Stu could do with the rest of his career or the rest of his life would match starting a baseball team. And being the only black owner, majority owner in baseball, as far as I'm aware of right now, or did he tell me that there only been 3, I think, joining such a small group? I just think the opportunity would be tremendous. And to think that this is Stu, this is weird. It's like, this is my buddy. My buddy might own a Major League Baseball team. Not solely own it, but, be the leader of the ownership group. I'm so excited for him. And obviously I want Oakland and Tampa to get their situations settled regardless. But it's like icing on the cake that once those happen, then Nashville can be put on the table. And I think Rob Manfred, assuming he's still commissioner and assuming, the sentiments are the same in a couple years, or hopefully sooner, that's a green light for sure. All right, let's see what else we got here. Andrew, am I keeping track of the Sacramento Kings still? Absolutely. I'm lighting that beam on a regular basis. It's a weird thing that they got off to, well, actually they had a rough start to the season and then had that win streak that kind of pushed them over the edge and, kept a winning record. It's really this next chunk of the season to get past the halfway point, to get into that final stretch. How do you position yourself, right? How do you not slide? How do you make what's been kind of not even a dream season, but a really good, things have fallen into place type year? How do you continue that to the most important part? Here's the question, Andrew, if they make the playoffs, does that alone this year just satisfy you? You're like, finally broke the streak, 16 years, right? Is that all it takes to at least get that out of the way? Obviously, though, when you get that far, you want to actually make a dent in it, right? You want to advance some rounds. My goodness. What if it's Sacramento and the Warriors in a playoff series? Ooh, couldn't even imagine that. To be honest, Andrew, I'm a casual observer of their team. I'll watch some highlights. I'll keep track of stats and scores and storylines. The biggest problem is that the nights I work, I'm busy working. Now, there's tons of TVs on, so I can watch a couple things at once. But the nights I don't work, I might be very busy with personal stuff. So it's hard to, and also, I know for a lot of people here in the Bay Area, you cannot actually watch Sacramento Kings games. That one's always been weird to me. And I understand 2 teams, 90 miles apart. You got to draw that line somewhere. Where is it, Vacaville? I don't even know what the line is, but there's Kings territory and there's Warriors territory. Now, I live in Warriors territory and I grew up loving the Warriors. But I don't dislike the Kings at all. I've had my heart torn out, just thinking about, was it how many years ago? I saw it tweeted today that today was an anniversary in 2013 of some news breaking that, the Kings have sold to a Seattle investor. They're moving to Seattle. Obviously, that didn't happen. But the fact that they were going to leave and then they couldn't get a new arena. Oh, what situation does this sound like? I never wanted to see them leave because they'll never come back. There will never be another pro sports team, honestly, in Sacramento. If the Kings left, what else is there? So, but to have that happen and then, to sit bad decision after bad decision and players that just did not work out and, it just got ugly. And then you're like, well, at least they stayed. And then they built a new arena and at least they have this. But man, they're just struggling. Now they've got the new arena. They kept the loyal fans. They're building back the fans that, let's be honest, come and go. They're bringing them back. They're lighting the beam. You got Sabonis. You got Fox. You got a new coach that's been there, done that. So let's see what they do. Oh, extremely sad to hear about Liam Hendriks' diagnosis. Wishing the best to him. I had no idea this was coming yesterday. I scrolled past something on Twitter that led to a link, and it just said it was a Canadian news outlet, probably CBC. It said former Blue Jay Liam Hendriks diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I was like, what? It was random. Who would expect to see that? But right, to see it like that, and I'm like, wait, Liam, what? No chance. What? Huh? It took a minute to process. And then I read his statement and the fact that he had, I guess, known about it for just a little bit and felt ready to share with the world, and that he was already starting his treatment, I think, as of today, right? It was, I guess, put out yesterday. And Liam Hendriks is one of the most awesome people that just happens to play professional sports. And seeing him do what he did with the A's, where he was DFA'd, I don't even know, multiple times. It was at 2, 3. The team basically said, we're done. We don't have another use for you. Not personally, but professionally. And he would find his way back. And next thing you know, he's your closer. And next thing you know, he's an all-star. And next thing you know, he signs a huge contract in Chicago because he's that good of a closer and a known commodity, and he's one of the better closers in baseball. But forget the baseball for just a second. I got to know Liam, pretty well in conversations and chit-chat. And I went back to just look at my text to see even the last time that we were texting back and forth. A lot of it is about hockey, actually. He's a huge Montreal Canadiens fan. Canadiens, excuse me. And we go back and forth on that sometimes, and I haven't talked to him in a bit. I'm pretty sure we probably last talked during this previous baseball season, but I feel so terrible because this is not, it's a baseball player, yeah, and that's what's going to catch people's attention. And I don't know how long he'll be out or away from this. I know people that have gone through what he's getting into now, and fortunately you live here in 2023, and there's a pretty good success rate in this. Sometimes you have to beat it more than once, and it takes a toll on you, and it takes a toll on your family. And his wife, Christy, is also an awesome person. It's funny, when the pandemic started, Liam was one of the first people I reached out to just to talk to do an interview. I recorded an interview here in this home studio. We were just trying to catch up with players, right? Bring some normalcy to life. Bring a conversation with somebody who's now not doing, like, everybody's staying at home. And I'll never forget when I hopped on the FaceTime or the Zoom or whatever it was with Liam. He was all lit, like he had a professional. He had the ring light before people were buying ring lights and stuff. And I saw his wife in the background. He was like adjusting it, and then and she later, I think, she Instagrammed a picture of him he'd been setting up for this interview to look good for it for like 20 minutes before I even connected. Most players are like on their phone. They couldn't care less, where they're at. But he wanted it to go well and he wanted it to look good. And I remember joking with him. I'm like, this is a first for me. I've never seen this. But just a person who cares about life, who cares about animals, who cares about the common man, who cares about teammates, who's not afraid to speak his mind, who always has really good ways to put things and thought-provoking comments. He's honest. He's unique. I love the fire that he plays with. And I just hope for him that selfishly he can just play baseball again soon. You know why I say that? Because if that's the case, then I know that everything else health-wise is taking care of itself. He's taking care of it. I mean, obviously, I couldn't care. At this point, I want him to live a happy, long life. But like I said, knowing that if it means he's on a baseball field, means he's completely healthy and all recovered and doing what he loves and not getting cheated out on important years of his life, then of course that's what I want to see. But honestly, it's not about baseball for me. It's about somebody who there's a handful of baseball players out there that I know someday they'll be great after their career's done on television or in the media, or just like you can stay around the game. A lot of these players, they're done as a player and they don't know what else to do. They don't know there's other options and avenues of how to stay in baseball, something they've always been involved with. It's a real hard shift of gears in life to be like done and now they don't want me. Well, they do want you. And I told him a long time ago, you'll be phenomenal, like on television. All you have to do is sit and watch games and give your thoughts and share some stories and experiences. And we've talked about that. I've talked to quite a few players who I know will be good at it in the next step. But I just wanted to share that he's definitely one of them, and he's expressed interest in that. I just hope this, and I know the way he attacks things. And I know the support he's got from his teammates and the city of Chicago, but just doctors and resources. And I was gutted when I saw that yesterday. And I mean, it's weird, right? Like you want to instantly just text somebody. But I thought about like how many people just saw that like I did and are reaching out, and I mean, teammates, he probably was in the thousands of texts like that. And so I didn't. I didn't do it on purpose, but I will. I wanted to give it a couple days. And I hate to say this like a strategy, but I like to let things settle before I can reach out and make sure that I'm not part of overwhelming him. But I know I also know that he's going to want and need support, as days go on. So I guess I've said everything maybe that's inside here, but that was really difficult to see that, and I hope it happens well for him, and I hope that it can go quick, like the process can go quick, and that he can just return to normal life. He's already been through so much as a human being, and nobody deserves this. Come on, don't get me wrong. Nobody deserves this, but somebody as good and kind as him, maybe that's why it just hits me like 2 tons of bricks. So, best wishes, Liam. I'm thinking of you, buddy, and your wife, Christy, and you will hear from me sooner than later. I feel like I need a break to to go on to anything else. Whew. Frederico, thank you so much for being here on the Super Chat. I really do appreciate that. If Howard Terminal is completed and the stadium is built, would the name of the baseball field be renamed the Legend Field? What do I think? Well, I think as part of the project, and like most new stadiums that are built, there will be a corporate sponsor. Now, what is that sponsor? I don't know. What's unique to the East Bay? Well, I guess it could be an entire Bay Area corporation too, right? But I'm pretty sure that it would be a stadium name, with a corporate connection. I mean, how many ballparks across the country don't have a corporate name attached? I guess really Fenway Park. Well, Wrigley kind of is, and it is it's a family name, but I guess company name too, right? Dodger Stadium, those, and the Coliseum. I guess Angel Stadium. Has that had a different name, like a corporate sponsor name? Oh, William. Oh, come on. Dollar where? Oh, come on. Actually, I kind of like the way this is going. All right. Name the new Howard Terminal ballpark. What's the name? Tesla Field. All powered electrically. There you go. Anyway. Timothy wants to know, Vancouver has a 662,000 population. Why are they never in the Major League Baseball discussion? Too close to Seattle? Probably. And you know what? I think baseball really doesn't want to mess up with the ecosystem of Canada, because honestly, what's pretty cool about Canada is that you can go coast to coast and there's a Blue Jays representation, which is weird, right? Because Van is nowhere near Toronto. Calgary, Edmonton, that's a long flight still to get all the way out to Toronto. But it's that coast-to-coast mentality of like, this is Canada's team. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, what about when the Expos were there? But this has kind of emerged since Montreal left. And even Montreal and Toronto only separated by a shorter distance. So the Blue Jays have always kind of been, to me, always kind of felt more like the national entity. And part of it, too, is, right, Montreal, Quebec, kind of a segmented part of Canada culturally. So, oh, that's right. Edison Field, Angel Stadium was Edison Field way back in the day. Capcom Park. Marty, the boring baseball stadium. See, but I know what you mean. It's the boring company. They bore tunnels. I totally get it. Yeah, Blue Jays are huge all over Canada. Clorox Coliseum. Oh, here's the question. Eric. You bring up a good thought. The new ballpark. Is it still called the Coliseum in some way? Did they find a way to make it? No, because it won't be that like round shaped, not like the Coliseum is. Let's close a chapter of the Coliseum name. Clorox Field at Howard Terminal. I feel like how clean are things going to have to be there? Like you walk into the bathroom, there's not even a fingerprint. And you kind of go, is that grass or is that bleach? That's going to be a thing though, right? Like if you name a stadium Clorox Field and everybody's pointed to Clorox as being a big, I know they're based in Oakland officially. I know they're based in the East Bay, but it's like Petco Park. All I can think of is like dogs running around everywhere, but there's not. What are some other ones that? Coors Field is just like beer flowing everywhere. No, I wish. But yeah, Clorox, like just the product recognition just makes me think about cleanliness. Hey, there you go. Mrs. Fields Cookie Stadium. I do know. Debbie Fields, was that her name? Debbie Fields. It's crazy, right? all the connections to the A's. Mrs. Fields, MC Hammer. I got to tell you this, too. Mrs. Fields was a classic of childhood. I still remember where their location was at Stone Ridge Mall in like the late 80s, early 90s. It was right on the corner, right across from Radio Shack. Seriously. And if you're out there and you're a 510 or a 925 person and you went to Stone Ridge Mall back in the day, you'll remember where Mrs. Fields was. Seriously, it was right across from the Radio Shack. SAP Park. Mrs. Fields left. NOS Energy Park. Oh, there we go. Brutus. Xfinity Field. Oh, now we're talking. Maybe I could get some perks on that one. How about Levi Coliseum? I think Levi's has probably already spent their dough. Greenfield. Oh, 209 Gap Field. I see what you did there. Or just knock off the Yankees and go Athletic Stadium. No, it's gotta get some green with it. Was I just doing an ASMR video there? Who wants some ASMR? Nobody does. Kaiser Cove, Seas Candy Field. Yeah, Tom Hanks. Yeah, that's another connection. Tom Hanks was a vendor at the Coliseum. Banana Republic Field. Here's a good one. Last Dive Bar Memorial Coliseum. Oh, how about this? Mrs. Fields is still in the same spot at Sun Valley Mall. That is awesome. That is fantastic. What are you doing? Go to the mall, Puck Guy. You know, it's weird. Like, I know the mall still exists, but like pretty much all of them. Like, none of them have really completely shuttered, but across the Bay Area, it's just got to look dramatically different compared to how they used to be. Although, like Valley Fair, I haven't been in Valley Fair in years. I've driven past it a bunch. Is Valley Fair now do you pay to park there? Somebody let me know about that. Do you actually pay to park at Valley Fair at the mall? Because I know that there's new garages or taller ones than there ever used to be, and they've like resurfaced the outside of them. Too legit to quit Coliseum. Ooh, Fosse Field. That's a good one. Uncle Brody, can you imagine a taco day in an A's game in 2023? Ooh, it's a good promo idea. It's got to be on a Tuesday night, right? Taco Tuesday. I like that. I had to go get Cinnabon the other day. I love it. I love it. Oh, man, there were so many questions I missed here, and I apologize. Chloe, thank you so much. If I missed you from before, I know this comment was probably a while ago, but thank you for being here. Leighton, do I know who Rennell is? Of course. How could I not? How could I not? Oh, Caesar, I'm sorry that I missed you here on the Super Chat, and I apologize about that. Chances Aaron Rodgers gets traded to the Raiders. Why not just go out and grab Tom Brady? Let me ask everybody a question here. I wish I had. I mean, I think the chances are they probably exist, but I think Tom Brady's probably more likely to be a Raider next year. But here's my real question. If you could have one of those two right now for your team, whether your team is the Raiders or anybody, you have a free agent or you've got an open spot. You've got the quarterback position open next year, and one of those two are available. Is it Aaron Rodgers or is it Tom Brady for you? I think I know who I would pick. I want to know what everybody else would go with, though. David, Reed, Brady, Wayless, Trauma. Yeah, well, potentially. Yeah, potentially. Hey, Brody. What's up, Drew? Long time no talk. Are the Connor Bedard numbers making you salivate? Well, they're baking me. They're baking my brain. On track for 212 points in the WHL at this pace. Yeah, so his first game back after playing in World Juniors, I think he had a 5-point night. Oh, and the hat trick to go along with it. You know, I said before that I didn't want to see the Sharks finish last. Like I do not subscribe to the idea of tanking. Some teams are so bad, they're just going to be really that bad. But at least that's genuine, that's authentic, that's organic, right? If the Sharks are going to get one of these top draft picks, and they might, just based on where they might finish in the standings, so long as it's organic. Now, I also think about the second half of this Sharks season. If they do make large-scale moves, if they really are sellers, I mean, even to any degree, if you trade James Reimer, if you trade Timo Meier, Carlson, I don't know. I think that one is just harder to pull off based on the complexity of the puzzle piece that is Erik Karlsson's contract. But my point is, like, if you take away some of those backbone-type players from your team this year, how do you think the second half's going to go? And it's going to put you in line for more likely one of those really, really top draft picks. And it's still a lottery, and, you know, it's one of those situations where I don't know where they'll pick. But let me just say this. Yeah, the more I watch him play, and, you know, I heard all the hype and, you know, exceptional status, all this stuff. Okay, but let me see it. And then I watched, you know, the highlights of that tournament and some of the games he played in. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and he's only got growing and maturing to do, but he's going to be just fine. He is no question the number one draft pick, and yes, I am salivating. I am. Now, does Connor Bedard alone change any franchise? No. But he absolutely gives you the platform to build around for like a good decade. Think about all the biggest ones in the last like 20 years. Ovi, Sid, Connor McDavid. I can't really just say Connor anymore. I got to say McDavid because there's a Bedard now. Those generational type players, they literally give you a decade to like build strong, build around him, and then you could even tear down and rebuild around him again. So, does Bedard change any franchise? Yes, Brody. Yes. Well, not. Does Bedard alone change the franchise? No. Does Bedard provide the hardest part of changing a franchise, the foundation? Yes, he provides the foundation. You still have to build up around him, right? So, David wondering, is Timo Meier part of the Sharks rebuild? We're going to find out. We literally have less than 60 days to find out here as it relates to the trade deadline and what the Sharks might do. There's just, to me, there's no way you keep him post-deadline unless you know that you've already re-signed him or you're going to re-sign him or there's an agreement in place. You just really can't let it get to RFA status. Otherwise, another team might jump in and throw him an offer that you can't match, and then you lost him for nothing. You lost probably a 40 goal scorer this year for nothing. So they've got to make sure that they capitalize one way or another. Excuse me. Brutus is watching E2 Makiniemi. Yeah, me too. Me too. When is the Oakland City Council scheduled to make a binding vote on Howard Terminal? Well, Kevin, I appreciate that question. They need an agreement to vote on. They need a deal to vote on. There's not one in place between the A's and the city of Oakland. Once that negotiation has reached a point where both sides are pretty happy, like the city staff and the A's are happy, then the council members can vote on it. And they've got a lot of things, I think, ironed out. Some major things like, well, how infrastructure gets paid for and what is coming in and what remains to be seen, and ultimately who is financially responsible for like overruns. Like I I'll say this again here because I've been streaming for a long time. Dan Kolb, sorry. My brain is getting that tired. Dan Kolb's going to join me. He's the District 1 council member in Oakland. He's been around a long time. He was first elected in 2012. So he's been doing the city council thing for more than a decade. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow about this entire situation. I've prepared what I think are some really insightful questions. Hopefully, he's a good talker and he's open and honest. I just hope he can be that way tomorrow. I'll have that interview eventually here on the channel. But you need an agreement to vote on. So they don't have that agreement to vote on right now. Let's see what else we got here. AC 831. Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady. Okay. Say it, Brody.
Bedard is generational.
I don't like that one. Hello? Ooh, this one sounds... Ooh, this is like... Bedard is generational. I feel like I could do a radio promo that way. Hello, hello, hello? Hello, hello, hello? Hello? Ooh, that sounds really bad. Hello? Oh, this one also sounds like the radio. What's a radio station that you would listen to? You're listening to Live 105. Is that still a thing, by the way? Or did they change formats? Everybody changes formats. Frederico. I appreciate you again for being here on the Super Chat. That's awesome. Do you think Thornton comes back and retires as a Shark? I don't know that Joe Thornton is into the attention thing of like retirement ceremony. I mean, like Patty did it, right? But I know for sure that was a really hard day for Patrick and his family. And it's like the attention's great and people love you and they want that to happen. You're kind of doing that ceremony for the other people. And also maybe to state your final comments and I don't know. But you're doing that ceremony not for you. You're doing it for other people. I don't think Joe is interested in having that type of day. But I do think, he's already around the team. Is it in an official capacity? Is he filing like a tax return for working for the Sharks? I don't know. Or if he's just hanging out. Mike Greer, his former teammate, assistant general manager Tom Holy, one of his longtime friends, all the other people he knows in the organization. So do I think he comes back? He's already back. It's not like official. They haven't lit off the fireworks for it yet. They didn't really do anything publicly. He's just hanging around. So I know what you're saying, though. Will he retire as a Shark? I don't know that there will ever be like a ceremony or a day or a big press conference. I don't know that that's in his nature to want that. I'll also tell you, though, that if it does happen, it's going to happen after February's at 25th, 23rd or 25th, the Patrick Marleau jersey retirement. Joe will not do anything until after that. So maybe it's something that, mid-spring, early spring, March, April, maybe Joe and the Sharks will announce something like that. But I will tell you this. Patrick's number is going up in the rafters this season. Jumbo's number is going up in the rafters next season. I don't need anybody to tell me that. That is going to happen next year. And maybe by then he'll officially be like official part of the franchise. Greg saying that one sounded like Casey Kasem. I'm playing all the hits here on what station was he on? It was like a syndicated show, right? Live 105 changed formats to Dave 105? Really? Dave 105. You're listening to Dave 105. See, that's the job I want to have. I just want to sit here in this studio all day and say that. Or there you go. I got one for you here, Puck Guy.
101.9 KTL. All Sharks, all the time.
Jumbo wears a suit in the press box. So he's not in the press box. He's in the general manager's box. Let's be very clear. The press box, I was going to say it's where scrubs like me hang out, but I don't actually hang out in the press box. That's actually a trick question. Nobody knows where I go during Sharks games anymore, and I'm not telling you where I go. Nope. You can do this Q&A all you want. I will not tell you where I'm at. I'm at a secret, undisclosed location. I've got a nice little viewing area that I'm not telling people where it's at. I do not want to blow my cover on that one. John listens to
98.5 KFox.
The rafters. Now, I'm not up in the rafters. That's a little bit too high. I've got a fear of heights. Oh, somebody did answer the question here. Thanks for answering that, Andy. Valley Fair parking. First 2 hours are free. Now, come on. Now, think about this for a second. If I'm at Valley Fair for longer than 2 hours, I've probably bought food, or I'm really spending a ton of money, or I've got a really big problem at the Apple Store and they take forever sometimes. But what if I'm at the Apple Store and they're like, yeah, your appointment's in 90 minutes? Well, then you have to pay for parking after that? I was just here to do something. It's not my fault that it takes that long. Wow. Interesting. First 2 hours are free. Although, you know what? I was at Walnut Creek a couple weeks ago at Broadway Plaza, and I think it's the first 3 hours there are free. You might have to pay, actually, in those garages. So maybe it's not uncommon. Maybe that's a normal thing. But again, I guess I'm never there for more than 2 hours. So that's not really a worry. It's the BMW Lounge, J95. But no, that's not where I'm at. That's not where I'm at. The Mercedes Lounge. Were you trying to do that on purpose? Zito, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you being on the Super Chat. That's awesome. And again, I should explain. I mean, this studio, the home studio here, constant work in progress, always trying to update and upgrade things. And this is how I do it. The YouTube channel basically kind of makes just enough to keep itself going. And that's what I try and do. So I appreciate that. Erik Karlsson's success this season, is it due to Brent Burns leaving? Now, when you put it like that, right? And I know you're talking X's and O's, and that's actually how I want to get into it too. But I need to state this clarification from the beginning. It's not like there was some conflict of individuals and 65 and 88 hated each other, couldn't play with each other. And now that, the problem is gone, or it's resolved, or one of the two problems, it's all better. No, that's not it at all. Brent Burns being traded away was to clear up some salary cap space, to get some players back in return. It was just a moving forward of the franchise. And really, that was, up to this point, that is the biggest wow move that the Sharks have made since last season. And since all the change and the transition, I'm talking about, the first player personnel type move. But to answer your question, yes, there is some huge part of this. Well, the biggest thing, let's also establish the biggest thing. Karlsson has been healthy. And that's not something he's ever been with the Sharks. There's always been, was it the wrist that needed surgery? Was it the groin that was an issue, a recurring issue? This season, we haven't had that at all. 41 games in, please don't mess this up. Like, hockey gods, don't screw this up. Let Karlsson keep playing healthy, unobstructed. I think that's the biggest number one reason. Number two, I think that the absence of Brent Burns makes him a showcase defenseman where pretty much every shift on the ice, he's going to be the guy looking to make a phenomenal play. And there's kind of the past, when I say the past to do it, there's the okay, there's the approval to do that, because when it was him and Bernsey on the same team. Like, Bernsey wants to try some things, and Karlsson can't do that also every single shift. So I think knowing that you're the guy and the only type guy like that, left on the team, the real offensive defenseman, then I feel like, yeah, maybe that there is strategy-wise just more opportunities, right? Like the power play, there's no question who you want to get the puck to on the point to start off, a point shot, get one through. Because before it was get it to 88, and he would get it to Pavelski, and that's how they would score. Karlsson was kind of like, yeah, he's there, but it defines Erik Karlsson, I think, a little bit more to be in the role he's in right now. Let me also just say this. Let me add to your point. So you've already clarified, has nothing to do with personality, has a lot to do with opportunity, right? But I also think there's this too. I mean, Erik Karlsson realizes the Sharks' situation. Let's be blunt about this. Haven't made the playoffs in a couple years. He's always been motivated to play well. Stop it with he's trying harder now. Just stop that. Stop that. Okay? Nobody shows up and says, I feel like mailing it in and I don't really care. That's not, I've never got that impression that that's him. Like I said before, health was the biggest issue. Opportunity, strategy is an issue. But let me just say this. There is right now probably the motivation to play well, to showcase yourself, because you don't know what the future holds for this team. When there was transition after Doug Wilson and the team parted ways, who was going to be the next GM, who's the new head coach. Like, he wants to not only be on a good team, but he needs to find the way to make himself look good for whatever happens next. This is not a team where he knows, they'll be in the playoffs the next 5-6 years in a row. Who knows when they'll be back? He's just trying to go out there and showcase himself as best as possible. And again, is that different from how he had been operating or playing? No. It just so happens to be that that is definitely somewhere in the back of his mind. Like, think about yourself. I'll tell you this from personal experience too. There was a time where me and all my colleagues got laid off from a job we took a lot of pride in. So what does everybody do? They come right back with a chip on their shoulder and say, all right, I'll show you. I don't know that he has a chip on his shoulder, but he had certainly frustrations from injuries and, fresh slate now kind of with the team. He's just trying to show up and literally show out. So it's not just one thing. Let's be very clear. Karlsson is having, career type success. He's having he had a better first half to this season than any other first half he's ever had. Quite honestly, this season alone is kind of better than 2 or 3 of his Shark seasons put together, to be very frank with you. But it's not just one thing. It's a bunch of things that are the reason why he's on this ridiculous pace. And I think what's also equally impressive about this pace, it's not coming at a time where the Sharks are winning a ton and he's got a ton of targets and people to set up. I mean, it's literally, he is the scoring backbone of this team. And without him, where would they be? Think about that. All right. I appreciate everybody being here. It's about that time because 11:15 was not what I was planning on. So I'm gonna dip out of here. But I do really appreciate everybody for being here tonight. I think the live stream went well. Are there people still? Yes, we're holding strong here. Honestly, it's been a good showing of people sticking around. It's telling me here that the average viewer is hanging around for about 13 minutes here on the live stream. 13 minutes of my rambling before they're like, nah, I'm out of here. Philip, I love this. It's 2:15 where you're at and you're still on. That's awesome. Riley, thank you so much. Highest shooting percentage of Karlsson's career. Yeah, well, I mean, the goals are coming too, right? It's not even just the helpers. It's the fact that he's getting goals too. Greg, awesome for you to be here too. Thank you so much. Yeah, maybe unsustainably high. Karlsson is bound to cool off, but he's still bound to have a really good season if he can stay healthy. I live stream not often enough, to be honest with you. I'll probably be doing a little bit more later this week and into next week, you'll see why. I'm not completely going to share why I'll be live streaming more, but I will. And you'll see why. You got it. Hey, Zach. Good to see you, buddy. Zito, you too. Appreciate that. Sharks fangirl, you have a good night as well. Marty, thank you so much. Absolutely, John. I try and do my best. I think the hardest part here is just kind of cycling through. Like you can kind of see here on, well, maybe you can't under the monitor, but on the, how can I pull this up here so you can see it? On the screen over here, like look how many comments I missed. And oh man, it's just, I got to I try and get to all the super chats, obviously too, but yeah. I get overwhelmed in the comment in a good way. And I didn't even do phone calls yet, so. Or I didn't get around to it, I should say. Oh, Frederico, on the super chat one more time, the Brody Field. Yeah, well, no, you know what? I've already said that if there's one thing I can get out of, I didn't put that up. There, thank you. If there's one thing I can get out of Howard Terminal is like a thank you for, being part of the process, a parking space. That's all I really want is a parking space. So, all right, everybody. Be safe out there. I will see you tomorrow on television, Sharks Pregame Live. And I will see you later this week, like I said, on a lot of YouTube live streams. What will I be doing? Where will I be doing it? You will find out. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks again.